Hello, YouTubers. If you haven't read the description of this channel, I am Mac. You will occasionally see my daughter on here because she'll get involved. She loves playing with my Predator calls. She'll want to get involved and she'll try to bugle like an elk, which I have a couple of videos of, and it is adorable. It is 2021, so she's not even 2 yet, and she's already chasing our cat around the house and loves of animals, which is something that me and the missus that you also see on here do share. But this is not just about the quality and memory of family, of going outside and spending time and getting closer to nature. This is about everything therein of a novice hunter and his journey to being a successful hunter, from someone who grew up in an area where there was a lot of wildlife, but never participated in the conservation, understanding, pursuit, harvest, foraging, or anything like that growing up. My father grew up in Idaho on a ranch where hunting and fishing was the lifestyle. That's how he grew up in a rural area off of the St. Joe River. Unfortunately, he grew to be such a individual that he didn't want to harm an animal, even if it was to call that animal, which is something I don't agree with. And that was, in my opinion, the most cruelest thing that you can do, is to watch an animal suffering and not do anything about it until they expire. So he was completely against hunting. However, fishing was what he enjoyed, and that was the only thing he ever taught me. I do enjoy to fish, but even a fish is a sentient creature, and they have a right to live, so much as the big game and small game, and even creatures that we don't go after to the pursuit of the harvest. They have their right to exist. So that's something that I had to come to terms with and learn by myself. I still don't have any mentor or teacher. I don't have proper gear. My father was in the Army. He never showed me or taught me anything about firearms, and it was something that I had to learn by myself, and I still know next to nothing about them. You can throw me a model and I'm like, okay, I have no idea. But all that comes with knowledge and experience and time. My own is that I wanted to get into hunting when I was a early teenager, about 15 years old. And I wanted to go after black bear. That's primarily what I did, and so my parents scraped up the money to get me a bow. I had some legal trouble, so I could not legally possess a firearm. And even in this state where I live, it's questionable that a youth have a firearm on his own without the accompaniment of an adult, which my parents would not accompany me in the first place. So I was stuck. I knew next to nothing about bows. So I had to learn, and I'm still learning quite a bit about archery. And I've never done muzzle loading, though I know enough about it that I could get into some serious trouble. But it took me almost 10 years before I gradually invested enough to get basic equipment and basic gear to even think about going into the woods and pursuing these big game. I was never even after even small game. So I chose the harder path because no one else was going to show me an easier path. And some may say that takes character, that's the way to do it. You know, there's always different ways to go and do something to achieve a goal. Especially with hunting, we all have different experiences. We all hopefully respect the animals that we pursue, and we want to see them so we can continue to pursue them not just to pursue them, but to make sure that they thrive, and that we understand that the laws are in place to not only to protect ourselves, but especially to protect the game and the animal that we cherish so much to go after. So there was that, and I've only actually successfully gone after big game the past 3 years. The amount of animals under my belt, most of you will laugh at. I have taken a number of small game, rabbits particularly, invasive species that are small, that are localized here, and 1 deer. Impressive for a deer for my first harvest, but if I told you the situation, which we will get into later, you'll point us like, that's not hunting. No, it probably wasn't. Was it a successful hunt? Yes. Was it really localized? Yes. I might as well have gone to a ranch, paid someone, and harvested an animal that was just kept there as livestock, essentially. But that's a different matter. Regardless, I learned a lot from that hunt. And I processed the entire animal myself, butchered it, made it into hamburger, have steaks, roasts. I've made meals, backstrap, bacon wraps, and that deer has also fed not only my family, but my eldest brother, who doesn't hunt. It fed the family of the property that I harvested the deer from, and it was a learning experience, and that deer literally showed me the top few things that in future videos I will divulge as best as I can. So I will try to keep on track with my topics and not go on to little tangents, and I'll keep these relatively short as best as possible. As this is an introduction, this is my experience, which is very limited. If you want to amount to a cost of how much I've invested in this hobby, it's probably under $5,000 total, and I don't have much to show for it because of the way I live. I live a very busy lifestyle, and this is a hobby, and unfortunately you have to invest quite a bit into the hobby. But it's been a couple weeks since 2021 elk archery season was here, which was middle of September, which I was not successful at all, but that hunt alone showed me a lot. It taught me a lot as a complete and utter failure that it was, and it was a disastrous failure. That taught me a lot. And they say that, you know what, you learn more from your mistakes than you do from your successes, and it's like, that's only true if you realize the answer to those mistakes, and I will go over those in time. So this channel is more of a video blog about my experiences, failures, shortcomings, and my journey to become a successful person that I will hopefully pass this on to my daughter and the next child that is hopefully will come along in a year or two. We will see, and that will be my last one. They say that you're not a parent unless you officially have 2 children, and you're not really a hunter unless you have a couple of game. But you know what? It's not just about the hunting. You can go out into the woods and take photos of these animals in a pursuit to leave nothing but memories behind. There is other details that I will divulge that are not pleasant. It is the ugly side of life and experiences, but that is how we all live. Injury, relations, and stuff like that are happenstance, especially when you enter into a community. And though they are bad, we all have to grow from those experiences. And so these are mine, and I hope you enjoy following my video blogs and lessons as I continue to pursue this way of life that I deeply enjoy. And I hope you find some enjoyment in it as well.